Hello, everyone. Today, I want to cover one of the interesting questions that I've been seeing floating around lately, which is the US a democracy, right? And the answer it's interesting, right? Because the short answer is no, not really. We are a form of democracy, but we're not a pure democracy. We would be best described as a constitutional republic with some democratic systems, right? So I'm not being nitpicky about it. I'm not speaking semantics. There is an important difference between them that I want to discuss with you today. So let's get started.
All right. So, without a doubt, this topic of is the United States a democracy is one of the most shocking things my students learn when I explain to them the reality that we're not a real democracy, right? And I think a lot of it comes from the misunderstanding of what is a democracy, right? I guess the idea of majority rules is what everyone has in mind. But if you really think about it, in the United States, majority rules is not the reality, right? In the United States, once again, we are a constitutional republic with some democratic systems, right? So, what do I mean by this, right? So, first of all, I want to clear up the myth that majority rules is the fairest thing to do. The reality is that majority rules is the most convenient thing to do, but it's not really the most fair thing to do. To give you an example, in my city of Laredo, we are 95% Hispanic, right? So in a democracy, us 95% of the population who are Hispanic, we could make laws that take away the rights of that other 5%, right? So we could make rights to say that we pay less taxes, or we make laws that say that we don't want those people who are not like us, that they cannot participate in government, or that they have to pay more taxes, or this can go in any way, right? It doesn't have to be Hispanic. It doesn't have to be religious. The point is that, just because the majority of the people want something does not mean it's fair. It does not mean it's right? And this is something that James Madison talks about in Federalist Paper number 10. He calls this the tyranny of the majority. And he understands that democracies are not the best thing to protect the rights of the minorities. Okay, so he doesn't refer to minorities in the same sense that we talk about minorities in the present. He means to say more ethnic minorities or religious minorities, because back in the day, most people were Protestants, right? So he's afraid that a lot of the Protestant states are going to start taking away the rights of the religious minorities, right? So this is the reason why we do not become a democracy, right? Because in a democracy, as long as enough people want something, that can be done, right? But this is not the case in the US. To go back to the example of my city of Laredo, if we were a democracy, we could do those things. But because we're not a democracy, we're not allowed to do those things, right? So I'm not saying that we would want to do, but even if it crossed our minds, the Constitution prohibits us to do those things, right? So, like James Madison said, right? If men were angels, we didn't need a government. This is basically a filter to prevent majorities to take advantage of minorities, right? So this is the reason why the US is not a democracy, right? So this is what we mean by a constitutional republic, right? So that takes care of the first part of the Constitution, is the law of the land, and we cannot break it even though the majority of the people would want to do that. All right? So the second part is, what is a republic? A republic is a place that has representatives, right? So rather than having majorities, we have representatives, right? So just like we do here, right? Our cities have representatives, our states have representatives. So we have representatives at every level, right? City, state, national. That is a republic. This is people who speak on our behalf and who are looking out for the best of our interests, right? Or at least that's the way it's supposed to be, right? So this is what a constitutional republic looks like, right? It's a place where the Constitution is the ultimate law of the land, and we have representatives who speak on our behalf. And this is what I mean by we're not a democracy. But we do have certain democratic systems, such as when we vote to choose for these representatives, right? Be it your mayor, be it your senator, be it your representative, be it the president. We vote for them. And that is the democratic system that we have in place. However, it does not mean we're a pure democracy, right? Because again, that would mean that as long as the majority of the people want something, we could change the rules. But that is not the case in the United States, right? So I hope this helps you clear out these doubts about why we're not considered to be a democracy, but more than anything, a constitutional republic. If you have any questions, I would suggest you read Federalist Paper number 10 by James Madison, in which he makes these arguments against democracies. All right. Again, anything else, just let me know. I'll be around, and be safe, okay?